Hello and welcome to Smartingale Expert Advisor Abstract Instruction. At the very beginning, we start with learning how to input the data for the initial expert configuration. When you drag and drop the expert on the chart, the initial window is the information about the expert. The following tab, Common, is where you can manage the trading status. Remember that here in Common Area, the positions must be long, short. It is better to enable the alert, and you must tick the allow live trading so the expert is able to open a trade. For safety areas where the security of your trading terminal is concerned, for our experts, you do not have to tick any of these options, which literally means that our experts are absolutely safe. And the final tab, the input, is where you will input the initial settings. Let's start with the order setting. Here we have lot volume, and if you want the expert to be working with the fixed lot, you can input the volume here and then modify it on the panel. But if you input 0, the expert would determine the lot based on the risk. You would input initially here and the later would modify on the panel. Remember, alt values you input can be modified on the panel later. This is just the initial setting, and when you reset the setting on the panel, they will be reset to these values that you input now. Next is the covering order steps, which is based on points, not pips. The following is the multiplier for the covering trades. Remember that this multiplier would work for the second trades or later ones. I will explain more on the panel. Here's the maximum number of trades, and here's the extension for the level of the covering trades. Next part is setting for profit and loss. Here's the profit rate, X, and for the max loss, and the max loss rate, which is the percentage of the account balance. All these settings will be later explained on the panel. So we have the filter settings, check mode, trade mode, and profit mode, followed by timing setting in order to set the initial time frame for fast and slow trigger setup. They all can be modified at any time on the panel, but the other settings which cannot be modified on the panel and would be set only once here. Firstly, we have moving settings here, where you can add the moving period, price close in the method. Then we have pip correction, the very important and useful setting for this expert, which I have to explain at the end when you are totally familiar with this expert. And other settings like expert settings, sizing, and colors, which are clear and simple. Well, let's go and see the panel. Click on OK, and here we go. Here's the panel distinguished with two different colors, blue for long trades and red for short trades. One major feature of this expert is that this works absolutely individually for each direction, meaning that you can have a totally different settings and risk level for your sell orders and other settings for your buy orders. Well, I will make the size bigger only now so you can see the panel better. First, we have the status button, which has 3 different setups. Off, which simply makes everything off. Pause, which pauses the expert from placing a new trade. In this status, no new trade will be open, but you can change the configuration, and if the trades meet the determined profit rate, they will be closed. There is a timer too, as you can see. The white color means that there is no timer activated. You click on it, and now a vertical line appears SN. By shifting it left or right, you can adjust the time you want the expert to get activated, and one more click, it locks the line and activates the timer. So once the time hits the line, the expert would be set to active mode. And finally, active mode. What is that? Active mode, which locks the panel and activates the setting you have set already. Here is the reset. clicking once reset the settings to the initial ones you have input earlier, and clicking twice, it resets the risk in the line setups. The trend line setup you will see a bit later. Here is the risk, and you can select the proper risk level you would like. I will explain it further later. Here we have time frames, and it is better to select the smaller time frame for fast, like MON, MF5 or MF15, and longer time frame for slow, like H4 or daily. Before I explain these settings, I should explain the details area in order to be able to explain better. I have one open trade on the long side. On details, we have three main parts: the below box, which contains the details about current open orders and the next opening order. And this button decides if you want to see the levels, the price at which the trades will be closed at the given profit rate, both of these settings, or none. So I will set to display all the details, and here we go to see the settings. Firstly, here we have the max orders. I will leave it to be 3, which means we will have 3 open trades in total. I will set it to be 4 for short setup, so we will have 4 sell trades and 3 buy trades. The level is 250 points for buy orders. As you see, 1 open order and 2 covering orders for a short setup. If new order is placed at the current price, the first covering order will be opened after 300 points, as we said here. The next will be opened after another 300 points, and so on. In total, we will have 4 short orders. This price shows where the buy trades will be closed at this profit rate. We don't have such a price indicator for short trades, and it is because we do not have any open sell trade. The level, which shows the covering orders level, at the price they will be opened. You change the value for the level, and you see the level would move to a new price. Next is the lot multiplier, which determines on what rate the next open trades volume should be calculated. As you see, there is 1 open buy with a lot of 2.92. If the multiplier is 1.0, the next opening buy will be the same lot as the current open one. Congrats, you increase the multiplier, and the next lot will be bigger. You decrease, the next lot will be smaller. Here we have extension and levels. You can determine that the levels which are going to be opened in order to cover the current opened orders should be extended by what rate. We are going to have a total of 4 sell orders, which means 1 open order and 3 covering orders. And you see how I can extend the covering orders, or oppositely, I can centralize them. I will set the max order to 10 and set a smaller level size, and you can see how this function works. You set a bigger value than 1.0. So the next orders will be further than the previous one. You set a smaller value than 1.0. So the next orders will be closer to the previous one. Well, now we have another important area to set the trading setup. First is the check, which would check how the expert should care about opening a new order. If you set it to unlimited, there will be no check, and the expert will open orders regardless of the trend in the market. You set it to satisfactory, and it will identify the trend based on a unique calculation setup with the help of fast and slow trigger formula. You set it to moving and it will consider the trend based on the moving you set. If the price is above this moving, it is considered as the long trend. And if below, it will be the short trend. And finally, the trend line, which I believe is the best check. In this option, you can draw the trend line in any way you would like. And for the short setup, as long as the price is below the red trend line, the expert would look for an entry setup. And for the long, it will be done if the price is above the blue trend line. Very simple and absolutely functional and efficient. As you can see, you may have a different check setup for either side. The next is the trend confirmation. Sensitive looks for only one confirmation, normal for 2, and smooth looks for 3 confirmation to enter a new trade. The following is the trade setup. If it is set to once, it will trade only one time. And once the trades are closed at the profit level, the expert on this side will be set to pause. However, the continue option would continue trading. The profit setup. Here you will determine the amount of profit, and the mode will decide the way trades should be closed. If it is fixed, the target profit for closing the trades is the same as you selected. But if the mode is set to stacked, it will consider this profit rate per 1 micro lot, which is 0.1 lot. So in this example, we have a 2.92 open buy trade, and the target profit will be 584 US, meaning that the lot would be multiplied by the rate that you put here, 2.0. And finally, max loss rate in action. Rate is clear. It is the percentage of the current balance. We have 4 actions here, which will not close, just show. We have alert and close the loss. It will close the loss. If the expert is in active mode, in pause mode, it will just alert or show. And the big guy here shows your current profit. Sell us. And if you click on it, you can instantly and manually close all open trades on this side. Now, one important setting which was left in the input area, I will show you here. Okay, I will set this part to be empty. And let's see, for example, another chart, the Bitcoin chart. I have one open sell trade to show you better how this function works. I will set the max loss to 0.5% as the stop loss is set for 0.5%. So you can see the max loss level. Now I will try to add a level for a second trade, covering trade in fact, but you see I add the level and there's no change in the chart. Why? It is simply because Bitcoin, for example, has a smaller tick value, so they have a bigger momentum in points. So in order not to be forced to change the level count, every time you drag some instrument like BTC on the chart, you can add a pip correction for them. If you check the specification of, for example, gold and CFDs, you will see that the contract size is 100. This is the minimum of a normal contract size in CFDs. However, this is only 1 for Bitcoin. So what we do is to correct it on the pip demonstration, I will add the correction of 100 for Bitcoin. Remember, this is only for demonstration. The expert would calculate everything automatically itself. Sure now. Let's see a bit of functionality of this expert. The same instrument, Bitcoin. I have a sell position open, so I'm willing to have it closed on this level. So the profit will be this much, as you can see in the details window. Same time. I am assuming an alternative plan for sell orders. If the price is going to go up a bit, so I would have a max of 3 covering orders in this way and the max loss of 80% to have all sell positions closed at this level. Now you can see that if your setup exceeds the max loss level, you would have a warning note on the chart. I would set the sell setup only once. And for the buy setup, however, I am wondering of such a setup. So for me, as long as the price is inside this channel, meaning that above this blue line, I would like to continue buying with only 2 covering trades. You can have various setups based on what strategy you are going to use. So it totally depends on you. But you need to note that this expert can also be fully automatically performing. If we set the check to satisfactory and the trade to continue, this expert would open trades on a very satisfactory performance, but you know, there is no expert advisor which can be entirely generating profit without putting your account at risk. Therefore, this expert is designed to be controlled and set manually and more frequently by the traders themselves. So if you more frequently check and monitor the performance of this expert, you would have far better performance and safer as well. Good luck with your trades.